Hey, this is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanisms in the two-player asymmetric game, well, mostly just a little bit of asymmetry, Unforgiven, the Lincoln Assassination Trial. This game is essentially and almost literally a mashup of Seven Wonders Duel and Watergate. It's like Watergate plus Seven Wonders Duel. And I note it that way because it is a bit of a longer game. It's much longer than Seven Wonders Duel. It's much longer than Watergate. But it has some really clever mechanisms in it. Some of them are from those two games. There are tug of war elements and some asymmetric elements that are found in Watergate. And in Seven Wonders Duel, I can't really show it to you on camera here, but similar to Seven Wonders Duel in Unforgiven, you have a whole spread of cards, and on your turn, you are always selecting one of those cards from this drafting pool that's laid out, if you're familiar with it, very similar to Seven Wonders Duel, where you're taking a card, and oftentimes when you take that card, you're revealing one or two more cards for the other player to potentially take, or that might be available for your next turn. I really like that drafting mechanism, and I think it works really well in Seven Wonders Duel. It works really well here in Unforgiven as well. To highlight a few mechanisms that are somewhat unique to Unforgiven, one is the instant win conditions. So it's a very, very thematic game in how it's representing the trial of the assassination of Lincoln. And the win conditions, or some of the win conditions, instant win conditions, you can win by points. One of them is that you can just, if you are the prosecution, you can just prove that they're guilty. So there's a token that you can move down here, and if you prove that they're guilty, game ends, you win. Same with the defense; they're trying to prove that they're innocent. Also, there are these juror cards, some of which are on here, some of which start in your tableau, and there's some costs that you can pay to sway the jurors. And if you've swayed at least four of them to your side, I believe four is the number, if you've swayed at least four of them to your side by paying the cost on them, the cost kind of represent all the evidence you're presenting to them. If you sway at least four of them, you instantly win the game as well. Otherwise, the game goes to points, as it did in our play. Also, the other mechanism that I really like is that there are custom dice in this game. So this is unique to this game as well. There are a few different ways to get the dice. I won't go into that, but they look like this. There's a bunch of different dice in the game with different icons, mostly representing evidence that you're presenting, and a few other icons on there as well. And there are all these different ways that you can use the dice. I mean, this is a really clever game in itself. So you can't really see it here, but there's a little reference guide. Like, for example, there's a justice marker that allows you to move that token closer to the guilty or innocent, move along that track if you spend those dice. There's a die where you could just get points at the end of the game. There's a wild die that counts as any face. There's a wild die where if you spend 3 wild dice, you can convince any juror in your hand or any juror on the board for free. So convince is kind of moving them closer to swaying them. You can spend dice to gain some sway. Sway is a resource that you spend in the game. You can spend any 3 dice to gain 8 sway, or to take an extra turn, or to have an objection, which a very thematic element of having an objection, which kind of steals a turn from your opponent. Or you can have sway tokens where you can pay them to reroll a die or to gain another die. So there's all these little things that you can get from spending these dice. I really love this. This might be my favorite mechanism in the game that's unique to this game, because even the tug of war tracks that I mentioned there, they're also found in Seven Wonders Duel. Not saying that's a bad thing that's replicated here. I'm saying that's one of the best elements of Seven Wonders Duel, and it's represented here as well. So yeah, those are my favorite mechanisms in Unforgiven. If you like Seven Wonders Duel and Watergate, and you don't mind a bit of a longer game, I highly recommend checking this out. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. If any of these mechanisms remind you of another game, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you've played Unforgiven and have any thoughts, I'd love to hear your favorite mechanism in the game as well. Thanks.